just when we thought the bitter cold was the one last thing to worry about this winter, soaring heating bills have become a burden for many people here in South Korea. For more, we have our Young in the studio. Welcome. Hi,
Good to be here, Dami.
All right. This past week was one freezing week, let me say, and I had to turn on my heater a lot more than usual, which came back with a huge bill.
Right, Dami. It was same for me as well, but we weren't the only ones who were shocked by the skyrocketing gas bills. People are feeling the burden as prices of gas used by household this month jumped 38.4% per megajoule from the year before. The retail gas prices for households are determined by each city and province after the government-run Korea Gas Corporation, which imports liquefied natural gas or LNG, sets the wholesale price. Last year, the government raised the wholesale price 4 times, and this resulted in a total increase of a little over 42% compared to the previous year.
So you're saying the cold temperatures aren't the only factor to the rising heating prices. What are the other factors contributing to the rise?
Well, Tommy, the government has had to raise the gas prices overall due to the global energy crisis that was sparked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year. Following a slump in energy exports from Russia, demand for LNG surged as European countries sought LNG as an alternative energy source, and that pushed up global LNG prices overall. And according to South Korea's energy ministry, last year's energy price rose by 128% from the year before. As a result, the cost of South Korea's LNG imports rose to a record high of almost $57 billion US, far exceeding the previous record high of roughly $37 billion in 2014.
So, as you said, this is a part of a whole global crisis, right? And what is it like what's the situation like in other countries with regard to the rising heating bills?
The situation was similar in other countries as well. According to a report from the National Energy Assistance Directors Association, the U.S. is expected to have its most expensive winter for heating in more than 10 years with an on-year increase of 17%. And Japan has also seen a rise of 33% for December. But on the other hand, recent unseasonably warm weather has reduced demand for heating in Europe. And also, as Europe is on course to end the winter with a record amount of gas in storage, worries have faded that families in Europe will not have enough natural gas to heat their homes this winter, which is easing the heating cost burden.
So then going back to the domestic front, should people still expect to see unacceptably high heating bills in the coming months? Because I am worried about my January bill, which is just around the corner.
Right, I think most people, including myself, were wondering about our payments in the next few months. And to give you a straight answer, yes, the gas bill for January, which people will be paying for next month, will be high as well. An expert from the Korea Energy Economics Institute, who I spoke to, said that heating use depends on the temperature. So considering this winter season, it will likely remain high.
Right, it's definitely a lot more brutal and worrisome for households amid ongoing inflation. And I also hear that the government is reviewing to raise gas prices again in the second quarter of this year.
You're right, Tammy. The government decided to freeze prices for the first quarter of 2023, citing the high cost this winter. However, South Korea's energy minister spoke of the possibility of raising prices in the second quarter instead. And another expert I spoke to said the rise is inevitable.
Last year, Japan doubled its price and then Germany increased it eightfold. But South Korea saw a relatively small increase in gas prices. As a result, the Korea Gas Corporation's deficit has grown to 9 trillion Korean won, or roughly $7.3 billion US. It is expected to increase by 5 trillion won, or $4 billion after the first quarter. Raising gas prices from April is inevitable in order to import natural gas from abroad and stabilize the gas supply.
So it is a worrying situation for many countries around the world. And now let's talk about something that we are all looking forward to hear. What can we expect prices to go down?
There are different views on the size of the price rise, but experts I spoke to forecast that it will remain at high prices for a while.
The increase in prices will be affected by the global LNG price. However, for now, as global prices are on the decline, I think the increase in gas prices will not be that high. With continuous investment in LNG facilities, experts expect prices to stabilize as gas production and supply will strengthen from 2026.
The global LNG supply is fixed at 400 million tons. There is little chance that it will increase from this level by 2025. Natural gas prices are expected to remain high or even go higher until 2025.
So to sum up, LNG price is a factor that we all need to keep our eyes on, which is heavily depending on Ukraine crisis.
Right. It sounds like the Ukraine crisis is not good or helpful in any way, especially during this winter time. Hopefully we have warmer weather for the rest of the winter.
I hope so too.
All right. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.